Welcome, fellow Phoenixes, to the Spiritual Phoenix Podcast, where we make a daily offering to the divine by putting our past on the pyre, turning the ashes into art, searching the smoke for spirituality, adapting isolation into connection, and manifesting mental wellness. I'm your host, Ross Cessna, and I'd like everybody to take a minute and just think about what they're grateful for. Today, I'm just grateful to be grateful, having been an ingrate most of my life and not really appreciating many things or appreciating them after the fact. A couple weeks ago, I actually cried out of gratitude, not depression, not anger, not anything beyond that, but it was pretty impressive to have that experience where I could actually cry for being grateful for the things I had. And I only had one really pressing problem at the time, and my things to be grateful for far exceed what I had to feel upset about. And with that, I'd like to get into today's topic, which is materialism versus mysticism. And I'd like to start that off with a quote by Alan Watts. I took it from a video, and I might have paraphrased it a little bit. It was a YouTube video of him speaking. Let me rephrase that. Spirituality needs a beer and a loud burp, and sensuality needs a rough blanket and a hard bed and a cold night with the stars. The sensualist as such has no wonder, and the pure mystic has no body. And again, that was said by Alan Watts. And for me, I was a materialist. Although I had some spiritual experiences growing up, I was very, very grounded in materialism. Especially as I got older, through using, and I mean, I objectified even people. I mean, with my misogynistic views on women and how I treated them. And when I moved to Las Vegas, that was really the epitome of my materialism. It was all about having the nicest car, having nice clothes, having a fancy apartment, all these things, and none of it really filled me up. And I think it's appropriate to talk about materialism on Black Friday, where people will literally trample over other human beings to purchase objects. And I saw a meme on Facebook where it talked about the irony of how in America we'll celebrate what we're grateful for, what we already have, and then the following day we'll go out and trample other people to buy things that are on sale. And it's really disturbing to me that people participate in that, and that people wait in line for these deals, and that they don't even see that they're getting screwed over, because if they can sell these things that day out of the year for that significant discount, how much of that price is just inflated for profit margin? And maybe they do recognize that. To me, it's a little disturbing. And I'm not going to say I don't buy things or have nice things. I look at my hat. I mean, but I appreciate it, and I really am trying not to fill my life up with material objects, because possessions, look at that. It has the word possess in it. And the things you own you, as was stated in Fight Club. I firmly believe that. And there's been things that I really was so connected to and invested in that I lost sight of things that really did matter, or I got upset over something that was trivial at a loved one for things that were just objects. And as far as spirituality goes, I've definitely been on the far spectrum of that as well. Having had many psychedelic experiences and psychosis, I definitely was on the far end of that, to where I was disconnected, and I was very airy-fairy and thought that everything was a sign or this or that. And what Alan Watts said is really true, because there was times when I was such ingrained in my mystical thinking, where I really just needed to mellow out a bit and not be so pious and not be so philosophical. I think that there needs to be a balance, and I like to incorporate more humor in this, so I'm not just sitting here talking about these, what I perceive to be heavy subjects. But that'll come with time because I'm new at doing this. Uh, Mysticism, though, for me, has been fundamental in overcoming the materialism, and some materialism has been fundamental in me overcoming being overly mystical. And if I'm not mistaken, traditionally shamans are said to have a foot in both worlds. And I can't just say that I'm specifically a shaman. I'd like to think that I am. I'd like to say that many of my experiences relate to what shamans have talked about. I really have had what I perceive to be connections with the spirit world. And from the mental health lens, that's simply psychosis. But as I talked about in the last episode, objectivity versus spirituality, it's easy to be on the outside looking at the situation and judge what it is. But when you're in the midst of it, it really is a different perception. And they didn't see, think, or perceive the situations that I felt. Granted, I don't think that they have to be mutually exclusive, both it being mental illness and spirituality. And I don't think you need to be strictly materialistic or strictly mystical, as I've been saying. I think the ideal person has tendencies of both. And it's can be somewhat difficult to balance, but balance is relatively difficult in life in general if you're actually trying to do it right. Because the thing with balance is when you balance out one thing, something else kind of goes out of balance in my experience. And if somebody has the secret to do that where everything's always balanced all the time, please let me know. I haven't found it yet. I'm working at minimizing how much things fall off when I'm losing balance. But that's going to be a eternal struggle, I feel like. And it's the quote-unquote good fight, in my opinion. If I'm focusing my energy on fighting my weaker tendencies rather than with other people, I perceive that to be the right way for me personally. Because I can find myself in almost anybody. I've lived such a varied life. I've really been different people at all stages in my life. And I think that that's both a good thing and a bad thing in lots of ways. I mean, I guess it's just a thing. When I started this, I wanted to avoid saying good or bad, but substantially more difficult than I had originally realized. So I really feel on where I'm at now, I'm at a good place with both materialism and mysticism. I'm really only focusing on getting the things that can benefit me and allow me to do what I perceive I need to do. Granted, some things are things that just are for relaxing or mellowing out, but I think that those things are important. I think it's important to have books. I think it's important for me to have supplies for my creative outlets. It's important to have clothing. It's important to have shelter. Vehicles depending upon location are important as well. In our society, there's certain material things that allow you to live the quality of life that can allow you to better assist other people and to maintain a level of stress to where you can focus on Maslow's hierarchy of needs. As far as my spirituality has been substantially better since I stopped using drugs because although the past couple days I've had a much better connection with my higher power where I would talk to them almost daily. The past couple days I've been having to take a step back and relax because I was getting too ingrained in the material paper chase of creating content, getting followers, and all those things. And the reality is I'm doing this for me, and I'm doing this because it's fun. I hope that it helps people, and I assume that it has already. My goal is to help people think and get them thinking about things they might not have otherwise thought about. I'd like to have participation from people. I'd like to have people into it and be a part of the show. But at the end of the day, I'm happy doing this for me. I can't really go that much further into anything at this point. I would like to say that I love, respect, and appreciate all of you, whoever hears or sees this. And with that, I'm going to put this episode on the pyre. Peace, love, namaste.